So since we've dropped Kesh's name like 16 times since this panel started, I want to talk a little bit about music videos. I think you've all worked on music videos in some capacity, and we had a panel here back in November that was about music videos, and they kind of said it's a lot of work with very little pay. So why do them, and what do you get out of doing them?
Well, I think everybody who works in animation is a little masochistic. You have to be. To draw the same thing over and over again for hours on end. It's crazy. But really, I think the reason to do music videos is it's a great opportunity to do something a little more creative than your standard freelance job. You get a lot more freedom to, let your voice sort of be heard. That's why I like doing them. Yeah, the pay's not great, but you have the chance to really experiment and have fun.
Yeah, the pay is terrible.
It's really bad.
But
me and Michelle are still hurting from Sharon. So.
Yeah, just climbing back,
but it's so
back
good.
to it.
It was worth it.
It was a pretty awesome music video.
You know.
One thing that I find interesting about music videos is more so, even I think than short film, and especially than commercials, it's a writer-director medium. So when I've worked with bands or when I've worked with like music label curators, they'll often ask the directors to write the treatment. So more so than with a lot of other things, I think it's where you find artists that it's like a total representation of their vision. I find more so in animation, where it's like the person who thought of the original idea and the story is also usually leading the art direction, if not actually animating it themselves. And so then it becomes a really great calling card for those directors. And there was actually a really amazing music video exhibit at the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens a couple months ago. And I had to write an article about it. And the conclusion I came to is, if directing a movie is like making a piece of music for a symphony, and directing a TV episode is like a chamber piece, then directing a music video is like doing a solo. So you get to really see what the artist is trying to do.
I think also, because the pay usually is not the attracting point of the job, I was very fortunate in this case to be offered the job working for Sharon Jones, because I was already a huge fan of hers prior to the video, and that was really a huge selling point to get Michelle and Aaron, who's in the front row, all of these really good people involved, who it was a way where if it was just for the sake of doing a music video, I don't know if I would have been able to get that kind of talent, but I think because we were all such big fans to begin with, and it was a way for me to just be able to work with my friends, and we could all just be like, okay, this is our vanity project for the summer. We're just gonna do a collaborative piece together, and you can't really live off of doing music videos. Correct me if I'm wrong, but unless you're getting the big budget kind of things, which is rare. But it is really nice every now and then to do a project like that, because it is a little self-contained short film, that has a deadline that you actually have to put the gas on to get it done.
So, and Alan, you sort of brought this out with your question. You talked about freelance gigs and how music videos are a little bit more interesting to do. In terms of working freelance, which many or all of you do or have done, I know some of you have your studios and collaborators that work together, but in terms of those freelance gigs, do you tend to shy away from those that you're not interested in? When is it important to say no to freelance gigs, I think is what I want to ask.
Someone just asked me that. A friend of ours asked me that 2 days ago. I don't know. I've been working in the business for 13 and a half years now, and I'm just at that point in my life where I don't want to waste time doing stuff that I'm not interested in doing. So I've had plenty of people come to me with job offers that I turned down because I'm just not interested in the project. I the most recent example, I guess, would be a couple of years ago. I directed the pilot for a new preschool show on Nick Jr. that got greenlit to a series, and they offered me the series director job, and I turned it down because I just didn't want to do that. For that production would have probably outlasted 18 months for the first season, maybe close to 2 years for the first season. I just couldn't see myself waking up every single day and living in the world of preschool television for 2 years. I mean, doing the pilot for 6 months was enough for me to want to kill myself, even though the money was good, and it was, for a couple of producers at Nick Jr. who had success with other shows, and I was sure it was gonna probably get picked up, but I just couldn't do it. It wouldn't be fair to the people around me to do that. So I think this friend of mine who was asking me about this the other day, she's kind of new to the freelance world. She's still at that point where she's saying yes to everything because she has never experienced these kind of commercial jobs that have better budgets and they pay pretty well. And I certainly was the same way when I first started getting into the commercial world. I was excited about, wow, they actually give you a fair wage coming out of working at smaller independent studios where the pay wasn't as great. Getting into that was pretty exciting. So I was saying yes to every job too, but now I try to be a little more selective. And you know what? I'll eat ramen for a month or two. I don't care. I'm not above that. But I just don't want to anymore put my name on projects that I'm not as excited about.
Same with me. When I graduated from ISD, I said no to many jobs because I got the Charles Manson audio, and I wanted to make a film, and I thought that was more important than working commercially, which actually benefited me commercially now. And I bartended, and I had 3 bartending jobs while I sat in my room animating to Charles Manson for 2 years.
The artist's
But
journey.
now I'm working commercially and make